Hey Switchheads, hope you're all well. Kanan here and welcome to my review of Dungeon and Gravestone. But can this top-down dungeon crawler make it onto the Wall of Fame? Or maybe the Wall of Shame? Or perhaps somewhere in the middle? As usual, hit that link below which will take you to our Discord. Come for the chat, stay for the streaming. And also, if you want to see more of the latest reviews and updates, then hit that like and subscribe down below. And you'll also be doing the channel a humongous favour. And so let's get stuck into it. Gameplay. And so basically you start off as a dude who is a skeleton, recently dead and revived. You then take control of another dude's body so that you can go down into some dungeons and hunt out the exit and also a bigger nasty or something to that description. And so in this little town or village that you start in, you can buy, sell, you can look up and gain quests, you can do all your inventory goodness, swapping in and out weapons and the like that you've actually gained during your actual time in the actual dungeons. You can even go to a well in the middle of the actual town and make a wish, and it'll cost you 50 gold for the pleasure. There's a little mystery behind certain bits of this actual village, and you kind of like have to work that out yourself as you go along. And so once you actually get into these dungeons, you have like a health at the top and then a kind of blood counter, which as far as I can gather is kind of like how much blood this body has actually got, and the actual dungeons are taking the actual blood out of you, so you have to look for like these blood packs that actually add more, well, blood to you. And as you can see, it ticks down every second you're actually in the dungeons, and when it hits 0, well, you basically die. And then you've got the level that you're actually on. This always gets reset after you die and have to go back to the actual town, and then the actual level that you're actually on in the dungeon. Any keys you may have, your actual backpack with inventory, none of which you can actually use or anything until you get back safely, but I'll come back to that in a second. And then you get your actual gold score and the like. And then down below you actually have your inventory of like weapons and health and blood that you can use, and also a teleporter to get you back to the actual town. This can be done either with that or with meeting up with a person and them taking you back to town, which is kind of an odd mechanic why you can't just walk back yourself. And so almost everything that you gather within these dungeons will be lost if you die, and that makes it kind of imperative to actually get back to the town safely one way or another. Otherwise, obviously, you can't progress in the game too well. In the actual dungeons, you'll be put up against monsters like skeletons and spiders and big green like ogre things to things like little slime things. And when you die, you're actually asked whether you want to pay to stay, and if you've got enough gold you can and just carry on, or you just die and fill out your tombstone and your back home. But as I said, you lose everything, so it's imperative that you actually try and get back safely. There is a slight bit of puzzling within the actual game, because whilst you're actually in there, you have levers that you can press and keys that you can collect to get through doors and like trap doors and things like that. And you also get things like spikes that come up and other little traps that you have to avoid as well. Now I'm going to save you a little bit of time if you buy this, and that is by telling you that your arrows, and I didn't feel it was explained well enough for you to actually get this automatically, can actually be fired through certain gates and the like. Now this is very important because you will spawn into areas where you cannot get out of unless you have an actual lever, and the levers are in the actual rooms that you want to get into that you need the actual lever. I had a little bit of a hard time with this because I didn't know that you could do that, and once it was like made apparent to me that you could, the game kind of opened up a little bit more to me. And so the actual game is kind of procedure generated, and yeah, you'll basically be doing this in different places, and you'll also have like these little kind of like teleporters that will take you to other lands now and again. The The controls are quite easy, with the occasional mess up when you have to quickly change through your inventory to actually like get some health or something to save your own life, but it's not too difficult all in all. There's also kind of like a leveling up system where you can gain different power-ups as you actually go along from a very large screen full of power-ups, and you could also use magic in the game as well. And there's also kind of like a leaderboard as well if you're interested in that sort of thing. Graphically, the game is kind of like a minimalistic kind of Minecraft. It's kind of nice. I actually like the look of it a lot, and have to say it's one of my favourite things about the whole entire game itself. Sound-wise, it's kind of basic. The music's kind of like cutesy in the town section, and then goes a bit more darker in the actual dungeon sections, which is kind of a neat little thing. I found all the other noises kind of like basic, but they were okay. It was kind of like one of those where it kind of served the purpose of what you needed it to do. The good. It looked really nice. I quite like this look or style that it has. It's got quite a few things in the actual game that you can do and power up and the like. The bad. For me, it didn't explain itself well enough whilst actually playing the game. I think it might be a tad bit too overpriced. The score. This is my own personal view and my own score, so I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. The game's about an average dungeon crawler. It's got quite a few things to do, but I felt like, as I said before, it was slightly overpriced. And I also thought that the not explaining certain like key mechanics to the actual game hindered me and kind of like hurt my actual experience within the game as well. Maybe some people may find it obvious, but I just didn't, and yeah, it kind of marred the experience slightly. But I also feel that if they patched it slightly with a little bit more better tutorial, explaining maybe how to actually play it or some of the key mechanics like the arrows can go through the gate a little bit better, then I think this would actually have maybe felt a little bit better for me to play, and I wouldn't have had that like bad taste in my mouth at the beginning. And as for my alternative this week, I'm going to be slightly different this time with an actual game or creator by the actual same people that made this game, and that is BQM Block Quest Maker. Create and play your very own instant death dungeon RPG and share it with the world, which kind of feels like what this game was and is. And if you think that you can do better, then obviously buy this and you might be able to. And if you already own it, let me know what you think of it. And with that, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button where you can be kept up to date on the latest reviews and updates on plenty of Switch games. And as always, don't forget to click that link down below as well to take you to our community Discord. Come for the chat, stay for the streaming, because life is better when we switch together.